Thanks for joining us today on the BlueMilk Podcast.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's right.
What the fuck?
Best opening ever.
No! No, it wasn't that part that got me. It was
Because
the voice.
I shoot first.
You know what got me? What the fuck? Yeah, that's a good shit.
Thanks for joining us today on the BlueMilk Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything Star Wars related.
Howdy, y'all.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to this here corner of the galaxy.
How a cowboy goes retarded.
I ain't got my dip in.
Okay. Alright.
Anyway, yeah, we talk about Star Wars.
In different dialects, apparently.
Everything and everything.
Yeah, I guess.
In different dialects.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we have topics. Kind of. Sometimes. Maybe.
Sort of.
Maybe.
Ish.
Yeah.
And once in a while.
He's got one right now, though.
I think he just spit one up on the table.
Yeah, hair bomb.
Alright.
Damn, dude.
Nice and wet.
So,
Continuing on from where we started 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, no shit.
I was...
Got the timer going?
Yeah, I got that going.
Okay.
So I was I was looking up topics and everything like that, and I was starting to get a little bit interested in the wills, which are supposed to be,
WHILLS.
yeah, they're supposed to be, what is it? No, not eternal, they were ethereal?
Ethereal?
Yeah, ethereal. Stop looking at me like that. God, I hate you. They're, what was it called again? Ethereal? Ethereal species. And...
As in non-corporeal?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I don't know what those...
Continue.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
understand those
Okay,
things,
so pretty much just going on. They're supposed to be the ones who gave us the story of Star Wars. That's George Lucas' whole kind of backstory and everything. So there is a story in the book called From a Certain Point of View, which is written from characters. It's different characters' point of view of Star Wars. And this is from the Wills. So I'm kind of just going to read it to you, and I just thought it was kind of interesting and whatnot. Okay, so bear with me, guys. Yeah. So an unidentified will opens the explosion. Wow. Yep, explosion? Yeah. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. A second will criticizes his choice of words far away. The first will asserts his authority and points out that the rest of the wills appointed him to write the journal. The second will then criticizes the vague time frame and past tone of the line in a period of civil war. The first will expresses exasperations that his compassion is going to nitpick every sentence and opines
Yes.
that mentioning the exact time and day sounds stupid. When the first will writes about rebel starships winning their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire, the second will asks why he is skipping over the Galactic Republic and the Clone Wars. Then the second will suggests adding in Anakin Skywalker, Padme Amidala, and the first will responds that he could make some mysterious references to them. The second will then suggests adding in Darth Maul, Captain Rex, Ahsoka Tano, Asajj Ventress, Cad Bane, Savage Opress, Jar Jar Binks, and the Mandalorians. The first will contest that he could always go back and tell their stories later. His compassion protests that it is chronologically out of order, but the first will counters that the audience will figure things out.
Audience.
Yeah, I said audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, whatever. The second will suggests numbering the episodes with numerals.
If you're still with us, thank you. And welcome to the BlueMilk podcast, where we occasionally let Jacob ramble. I'm sorry. It happens. But we're running short on topics, so we have to make time somewhere.
I don't know about running short.
We have plenty of topics, and we went ahead and went with that.
There's a possibility that we're just not thinking of topics.
Okay, alright.
Well, no, the thing is, the reason why I brought this up is that I think it's just very interesting to have a different perspective on writing episode 4, the crawl for it, and how I like the part where at the end it says the second Wells is going to go write the Life Day. The holiday special, which turns out to be the worst thing ever. And, yeah. BJ, your topic.
I find it interesting that I almost want to say that that's George Lucas's way of trying to push off responsibility.
I agree with that. Blame it on the Wills?
Blame it on the Wills.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just channeling the Wills.
This book was written a year ago, so it's not George Lucas.
Unless them
He was still alive, you know.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't... Yeah.
So it's not Randy Johnson's fault.
Randy
or Ryan Johnson.
Randy
No,
Johnson!
he didn't pitch that shit.
Ryan
It wasn't Randy Johnson's fault either.
Ryan
Sorry, Randy Johnson, for that.
Yeah, there are plenty of Randy Johnsons out there.
What do they call him? Round-faced Johnson?
Ryan Johnson.
Okay.
It wasn't Ryan Johnson's fault either. The Wills broke.
No, yeah, this
episode
came
8.
before episode 8, so...
So the Wills gave us episode 1
And 2.
and 2.
No, and 2.
No, 2.
And 3.
3. That would be 3.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they also gave us Rogue One.
That's cool.
But it wasn't them.
Rebels.
They were writing the history of the Galactic Empire. Or, of the Star Wars galaxy.
Okay.
So, it happened. We may not like it, but that's the timeline. It's not the Wills' fault, it's...
Okay, so let me get this straight and try to put it in perspective so everybody can understand.
Okay.
The Wills
Uh-huh.
have the history.
Yes.
The Wills tell it to, while they're arguing, tell it to who?
They are writing it in a journal called...
They are writing it.
Yes.
Okay. They write it, and as they're writing it, they argue.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
About how to
Write it. Okay. Once it's written, it goes to...
George somehow.
Okay, then where the fuck was R2-D2 in all this?
R2-D2 is the one who told them about this.
So R2-D2 had the history.
Yeah, told the Wills.
R2-D2 had the history.
R2-D2, not about the whole galactic timeline, but it had from the Clone Wars to 200 years afterwards.
You notice R2-D2 is in just about every single movie.
I know.
Except for Rogue One.
I know.
He's in Rogue
I
One.
know.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He
A split second, but he's there.
same thing with C-3PO, yeah.
Okay, so the Wills, R2-D2
Tells
gets the information to the Wills.
Tells the Wills the information, yes.
Okay. And then the Wills write it down into a book.
Journals.
Yep.
And
Journal of
then
the Wills.
the book gets transferred to George Lucas.
Yes.
It's being channeled to George Lucas.
by the use
Channel and how
No, Beaumont monks.
and it's in what language?
Galactics.
And George Lucas understands this without
He
any.
didn't invent it.
Oh no, he didn't. Because if this shit came from the Wills,
Maybe he understands it.
Maybe he had a
knows what
translator
Galactic
when Han and Chewbacca crashed here. in North America and they met Indiana Jones.
This sounds suspiciously like someone trying to feed us a bunch of bullshit.
It's just a different perspective on the Star Wars fucking universe.
But how it got here is asinine.
So is Episode 8 and Episode 2 and Episode 1 and a lot of Episode 3, a lot of Episode 7.
You notice he didn't say 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, no.
And Rogue One.
Yeah.
So, I think there's been a lot of blowback on Star Wars lately in the news.
I forgot Solo. It's a forgettable movie.
Well, no, it's not. But well, so
If not,
because of Han Solo, it seems like they're canceling all future possible spin-off movies. Like they're only just going to put out numbers.
Well,
that keeps going back and forth. That's rumor right now.
Right now,
it's also rumored that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be out in September.
But it's also...
Which would be awesome.
She's leaving?
I think she's getting the boot, but it's just rumors, so we have no idea. No idea at all.
Well, the thing is that it seems like Lucasfilm is not listening to the fans.
When did they ever?
They didn't, but they should.
Why?
Just the fans in general, not the hardcore fans.
George didn't listen to fans when he made 4, 5, and 6.
That's because he was listening to the Wills.
He didn't listen to fans when he made. That's true. As we've clearly established. None of the writers of Legacy canon listened to the fans when they wrote their books. Like, the Chiss didn't exist until Timothy Zahn wrote it. And he didn't listen to fans to figure out how to make the Chiss. Or Thrawn.
The difference is the Chiss were not in place
I understand
at
that.
the time he wrote them.
Well, the Chiss didn't exist.
That particular story was not in place already.
True. But technically, a lot of these stories weren't in place. Like, I mean, really, we only ever hear about Anakin Skywalker in passing once in Episode 4?
When,
because
when
Obi-Wan told him that.
Yeah, it was like about his father. I met your father during the Clone Wars. He was killed by Darth Vader. All that stuff. But I mean, overall, we are never actually... None of the stories that have been told in Star Wars have ever been from a fan's perspective. None of them. None of the movies. Rebels wasn't.
Well, hang on.
Clone Wars wasn't.
Before you get into that, I just want to point out something that I think is important. The Chiss were not a thing until he wrote them.
True.
Okay. When Episode 1, 2, and 3 came out, 4, 5, and 6 were already in place.
That is correct, yes.
So doing 1, 2, and 3 was okay, they just were done poorly.
Well, 1, 2, and...
Now...
The thing is the stories of 1, 2, and 3...
When 7 came out, Thrawn, that trilogy, was already in place. And we already had shit that would have continued 4, 5, and 6.
But Disney had already stated that we are getting rid. But
that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. When 1, 2, and 3 came out, 4, 5, and 6 were in place.
When they had perfectly good.
I'm sorry. When 1, 2, and 3 came out, there was a lot of Legacy canon books that had already gone back to that point and told those stories in Legacy canon. I wasn't
aware of that.
There were already books that had already talked about all of that stuff.
Okay, then that can
where
explain why the fan base got so
that.
pissed.
That's one of the reasons, of course.
But when the Chiss was written, they hadn't even been thought of. So that is its own thing.
Correct. But the thing is none of the stories told in Star Wars. I mean, of course, fans have their own fan fiction, and they have their own, headcanon, and they have, a lot of, ways that are perceived and believed in Star Wars. But, like, all of the books that were ever written, like, they weren't written with the perception of what will the fans want.
Well, it's not
when they wrote those books, when they made those movies, they made them because that's what the writer or the director or the screenwriter, producer, you know, whatever, wanted to make.
The thing is that if Disney wants to make money and they want to continue making money, they'll make money with Star Wars and everything like that. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a giant franchise. After the next 10 years or so, after destroying it, if they continue going this line, they're not going to make money and they're going to stop making money and they're going to have to destroy Indiana Jones. Because...
Well, they've already destroyed Indiana Jones. But the thing is, with Star Wars, there's so many possibilities to tell so many different stories, and we've gone over this before, so it's really easy for them to just wait a few years and then put out a new movie and see what, like, happens.
But they should, if they...
They don't. The thing is...
They should at least listen to what the fans don't want.
But the thing is they never have before. And look where Star Wars may not be in the best place right now, but it's lasted 40 years?
41 years, yeah.
41 years.
Yeah. And it lasted fine before they started doing all the new shit.
But none of the new stuff is from the... Like, you gotta look at even the old stuff. A lot of the old stuff was written from the perspective of, we're just putting it out. I'm sure there's a lot of books that some fans don't like, but others do.
True.
That's what I was going to bring up. If you're going to do a Star Wars book, try to make it all... You can't just slap us... I don't want to see people just slap a Star Wars label on something just so it says Star Wars.
I understand that.
But that's what they're doing right now.
And that's what they're doing.
That's how you guys perceive it. That doesn't
They're doing it on oranges, man! They're putting Star Wars stickers on oranges!
They've put Star Wars on everything forever. There used to be Star Wars pancake mix.
I'm okay with that.
Of course he is.
Of course he is, because he likes that.
I like oranges too, but it's just... It's...
Dude, they have always had Star Wars labels on just about everything. You can't point at, like... I don't like the fact that they put the Star Wars label on an orange, when you're okay with the fact that they put the Star Wars label on pancake mix. It's the same fucking thing, dude!
That is a very valid point.
You can't be okay with one and not with the other. They're the same fucking thing.
No, they're not. One's fucking pancakes, one's goddamn orange.
It's marketing! It's the same fucking thing!
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's on a different product, it's marketing. But they are simply putting the label on that pancake mix and on that orange to sell you that orange and that pancake mix because Star Wars. That's it. That's how it's always been.
But the thing is that
you may not like it now because they're not putting movies out that you find appealing. But a lot of other people do.
But the thing is now they are listening because Solo stopped. Because
maybe
Solo,
that's the problem.
Because Solo kind of sucked out. Now they're fucking listening. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
They were listening when they put out 7. They were listening when they put out 8.
And they didn't do anything with 8. They left it the piece of trash that it is. It's garbage.
Maybe the reason why it's garbage is because they were listening to the fans.
Well, first off,
because fans, I don't think know what the fuck they want.
We know what we want.
No, you know what you've seen. You've read a bunch of books, and you've looked at the expanded lore, and you know what you like because it's already been written and told that way. And you literally want a movie that's literally that, spoon-fed to you in a movie. That's what you want.
Yes.
That's what everyone wants.
Yes.
They want what's familiar and comfortable, and they're not okay with this stuff that they've been putting out that's completely different than all this stuff that's existed for 20 years.
It's not because of it's different or anything like that. It's actually just poorly made. It is poorly made. Yes, a lot of people like
the directors and producers would disagree with you. Are you a AAA rated director that knows how to make movies? Are you a person that's investing millions of dollars into a movie?
I'm not.
Do you work in Hollywood and work around all of those actors?
No, but I've watched movies and all that shit.
There are a lot of different movies. There are people that would say Citizen Kane is a shit movie, yet it is considered
That's a damn good movie.
one of the best movies ever made. It is considered a piece of cinematic history. But there are a lot of fucking people out there that would say that it is a shit movie.
It's not shit, it's a little boring.
There's a lot of people that would say episode 4, 5, and 6 are shit.
That's their opinion.
Exactly.
But
And the thing is they're listening to fans, and fans are so divisive in their opinion of what they want and don't want. That may be the problem, the reason why we're getting such weird fucking shit lately involving Star Wars, is because they are listening to the fans. And the fans don't know what the fuck they want.
well,
This one does.
Yeah, but you're not all of them.
but the thing is
That
that
should be.
it seems like
That's what
Lucasfilm-
every fan thinks.
The thing is that with 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, Lucas actually had a plan. Disney has no fucking plan. When they began writing, when they had 7 or anything like that, they had no plan for 8 and no plan for 9. J.J. Abrams
How do you
even
know
said
that?
J.J. Abrams
I need
even
proof
said
of that.
that
You can't say that.
J.J.
without proof.
Abrams
I
even
want
said that
documentation.
his plan for Ray's family and all that stuff was not like what what freaking
See, he fucking fucked up his name too, Ryan Johnson.
Ron Johnson, whatever the fuckhead.
Roundhead.
That was.
Dude, why are you so angry at him?
He's the one who fucking wrote the movie and he fucking directed it, and it was shit.
Did he actually write it?
What he's angry about is he was excited for Ryan Johnson doing the movie
I was.
before it came out,
Yeah.
and since it's shit,
I don't agree with that. I don't mind 8. I'm one of the few
I-
people apparently
it was-
that don't mind
it was
8.
all right.
Do you know there's actually a petition online that
The
got up to
remake?
$90 million in
Yeah.
pledges to remake 8?
I'm not okay with that.
As what?
Something not what it was made.
No, it's already already
As
happened.
what? What the hell are they going to do?
They don't have a
It's-
story.
It's already there.
They don't have
Yeah.
a story. They
You can't
literally...
retcon it now. Oh wait,
You
unless someone
can.
else. Well, unless someone else fucking.
Disney retconned all sorts of shit, so yeah, they
Before
could
it was
retcon
done.
it.
They retconned it before it was done.
Yeah.
They
When
retconned
there was already
all
books.
of the legacy canon.
Well, that's exactly what he's saying. That's exactly what Jacob is saying.
And technically, the holiday special, Life Day, that's retconned.
Oh, it doesn't actually exist
Yeah.
now?
It's not actually part of the canon
Well,
because it was so
aired.
bad that
It
no one
aired
likes
once,
it.
and George Lucas like, no, never again.
Yeah,
It was
it was bad.
yeah.
And I'm sure there are plenty of books that have been written in legacy canon that have been retconned in one way or another.
Oh yeah.
Retconning happens all the time, and you can retcon movies easily.
For those of you...
Especially considering most of the audience have very short memories. Retconning is essentially where you take what's already been established and you undo it by saying, this didn't actually happen, this is what actually happened. But regardless,
I don't like 8.
Oh, it could be Men in Black.
you don't
too.
have to. I don't care. I don't care if you like it or not. I don't care if most people don't like it or not.
But that's not
I
what
do.
this conversation is about.
Yeah, it isn't.
About Disney listening to the fans.
Oh yeah,
That's
what
what
Now
the
it's
argument
not
came
really
from.
about writing the story or anything like that. It's also
Now,
like
you're saying the fans, and I say the writers.
okay.
The books.
Oh, okay.
I'm focusing more on the books. I don't give a fuck about the fans, because every fan is going to have their own opinion on what should and
Well,
shouldn't
yeah.
be.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I'm sure there are people out there that don't like the Thrawn trilogy.
Right. I'm
But
sure
then
there
there's
is.
a lot that do. I mean, it goes both ways.
But what I'm looking at is this was written. It may not have been written by somebody who worked with George Lucas
Technically,
or worked with Disney.
all the books in the Legacy canon did go through LucasArts
it
or
has
Lucas Ranch.
it has the Star
to make-
Wars name on it.
Yeah.
Therefore, in my mind, it's written. It should be part of, and it never was. It hasn't been. There
Or
are
they
so
just
many things
kicked
that
it out.
haven't been.
Yeah. There's a lot of stories that they could have told or could still tell that they just don't
Maybe-
because they want to make their own.
That's part of the problem. Is Ryan Johnson's a fan of Star Wars? Maybe that's the problem.
Supposedly,
is
so is
not
Kathleen
getting-
Kennedy. I'm just saying. Supposedly,
maybe
she is.
that's the
She's
problem.
stated she is in interviews.
Well,
Maybe that's the problem. Is maybe because we keep getting fans, we're getting their headcanon into this, and the general audience is not liking it.
The fans are the problem.
Maybe.
That's how it is with Rick and Morty.
so they're bringing their own. Well, that's what I said in the whole two-parter we did.
Because I don't think Timothy Zahn was a Star Wars fan when he wrote.
I'm sure he was aware of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, most people
Yeah.
are. But when he wrote it, it was what, 90s?
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
was
sure.
90s.
I'm not sure.
Lawrence Kasdan, who was director of Empire Strikes Back, I don't think he was a fan of Star Wars yet.
Or John Williams.
John Williams.
Alec Guinness.
Well, shit, Al
definitely
Guinness was not a star,
Yeah.
not a fan.
He didn't want. He
didn't
to be
want the
associated
fucking
with
role.
it. Yeah.
Same thing with Mark Hamill. He wasn't a Star Wars fan before Star Wars. When
He didn't even know what it was, but
Yeah.
he was awesome in the part.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
to be honest, I mean, like Mark Hamill definitely supports his work that he's made.
Yeah.
That's just it. That's
But
the
if you
difference.
look at it, like he's not like an Uber fan or
Yeah.
whatever. Like
He even says that whenever we go to the convention, he's like, "There's a lot of people here that know a lot more about Star Wars than I do, and I was in the films." That's
Yeah.
literally what he says.
yeah.
And maybe that is the problem: is that we're getting fans, and yes, we're going to cherish it, but we're cherishing it too much. We're literally strangling it. Maybe that's the problem.
Somebody
it's
is.
us.
Somebody is. It's not me. 'Cause
It's. I'm okay with having open ideas and all that stuff. We're strangling Star Wars, and our community, the Star Wars fans, are dividing.
translate we.
The Star Wars fans.
The Star Wars fans, the Star Wars fandom community.
Yeah.
Okay.
A large part of the community are hating each other.
Well, we're also more
Well, it was
digitally inclined now than
And now
we
we
used to
can
be in the
communicate, yeah.
past.
well a lot.
Communicate has nothing to do with it. We have trolls who
Well-
tend to stir the pot.
Yeah, there's the internet and the advent of instant public communication has essentially made it to where, because this is what it all boils down to. I mean, you look at like when episodes 4, 5, and 6 first came out, there was no internet.
Yeah.
Like this was the 70s.
Yeah.
There was no internet. It didn't
There
actually
was
didn't come
there
out-
was
it was late 80s that they had
the dial up.
the first dial-up modems were
Yeah.
actually starting to become popular. And
Yeah.
it was like late 80s.
No,
I believe.
because not Steve Jobs, the other dude.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, he was doing shit in his garage.
No, that was Steve Jobs.
Oh, that was Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs was in the
whatever.
garage. Bill Gates did Windows.
Okay, so yeah, they were starting it in the 70s, but it was just a few computers.
Well, the first internet.
They were just moving
Well,
information from here to here.
Well, that's
they're
personal
doing
computers.
networks.
Personal computers exist. Personal computers were more prevalent before the internet came
So
out.
like
Yeah.
The internet first came out with like Harvard or something like that, where they developed it to be part of like military applications, so that they could instant communicate across vast spaces of time, vast spaces.
To make it widespread, it wasn't until the 90s.
yeah. 90s was not.
But you look at like 4, 5, and 6. There was no internet. There was no like vast communication available. Like the fandom, when episode 4 first dropped and it took off, like skyrocketed with how well it did in the box office and how popular it became. Like, you had people sitting at tables talking about it, or like in restaurants, chit-chatting with each other, or, as they walk out of the movie, walking down the street talking to it. But
People, not us, because
Yeah.
we would do that anyway.
yeah, we would do that. We do that now. But
True.
Wait, what do we do again?
shut up. Anyway, but the capability to like walk out of a movie, and as soon as you walk out of the movie, you have a phone in your hand, and you're able to take your opinion, write it down, and have it be broadcasted to everyone else on the planet.
Mhm.
I just took a dump after watching Star Wars, that type shit.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like to be able to do that is, it's more prevalent after the prequels, after 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So like, the reason why there was such, because if you look at like you mentioned the division in the fandom, the first division was after the prequels. There was the fandom that had grown up with the Holy Trinity and knew that, and then there was this new thing, 1, 2, and 3, that wasn't like 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
So you had your old school fans, and then you had your new school fans. And eventually people came back together. It took forever, of course. It took like the better part of a decade for everyone to fucking calm their shit about the prequels. I mean, we still talk about not liking the prequels, but the thing is we understand.
It's not going to stop me from watching them, though.
Yeah,
They're Star Wars.
it's the Star Wars, but I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I'm sorry. You say 8 is absolute garbage, but I mean, compare it to Episode 1. 1 is absolute garbage.
2 is worse.
No, 1. We're not going to get into that.
We're not going to get into that. We know your opinion on 2,
No,
sir. We're very okay with
8
that.
was much better than 1. I will
like,
say that.
I'm sorry.
And 7 was much better than 1.
We watched Episode 1 and we were like, do the actors even know what they're talking to involving CG?
Yeah.
Like, what? The lighting was off. The dialogue was fucking bonkers. Like, it was just weird all over the place with Episode 1. And of course it got better as it kept going.
Because they learned.
Yeah, because they learned. But that wasn't an aspect of the fans. That was just the writers and directors realizing...
George Lucas.
And the editors.
Just George
And the
Lucas.
The editors not doing their job.
Exactly.
Not paying attention. Oh, we'll let that go. We'll let that go. We'll let that go.
Yeah, so
no notice.
As it continues, it keeps getting better. So, I mean, like, everyone hates 8. And the reason I think everyone hates 8 is simply because it's so vastly different. Like, they took the character Snoke that they built up in Episode 7 to be, like, this all-supreme being on par with Palpatine, and they just kill him. And, like, they make Rey pretty much seem like this nobody because they take the parentage, and Kylo's like, your parents are no one, they left you, blah, 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 all that stuff. Like, that seems to upset a lot of the fans because they don't want that. They want these characters to have meaning, to have purpose. But the thing is, in real life, not everything has meaning or purpose.
Sometimes they did the same thing with Infinity War. We wanted the characters. I wanted the characters to have purpose. And at the end, it doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly. What's funny is the fact that Infinity War is, like, cherished. Everyone loves the fuck out of Infinity War.
I hate it. I hated it.
I don't like it, but I don't like it for comic book reasons. Because honestly, like, their whole reasoning, like,
It's
Thanos...
not Infinity War.
Well, no.
We'll get Henshaw. We'll get Henshaw over and we'll do a real film nerds and BlueMilk thing.
Thanos' whole 50-50 thing is bullshit, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless...
It's a good idea. It is fair.
It's indiscriminately fair, yes. But it's stupid. Because that's not what he was... That's not the reason why he wanted to do it.
Anyway.
Regardless, the problem, I think, is that they want these characters to have meaning, to have purpose, because in everything before, all of these characters have had meaning, have had purpose.
Exactly, and that should carry on. That's why I brought that up in the last episode, well, the two-parter. It should carry on the Star Wars feel.
Yes.
And they didn't.
They're trying, but see, but the thing is they're trying to make the story be able to be told from any perspective. Because every Star Wars movie before...
explain that.
Every Star Wars movie has always been told from the perspective of a Skywalker. You're either following Luke, Leia, you're following
and this
someone
is still the Skywalker line. Or it should be.
It's not.
Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker... Almost Luke, and then... No.
Kylo.
Yeah,
Kylo is a Skywalker.
He's a Skywalker because he's from Leia.
He's
what?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He does have Skywalker blood.
Yes, he does.
But it doesn't seem to be really his story anyway.
No, it's Rey's.
It's Rey's.
Now, I
So,
mean, he definitely
what the fuck?
takes up. He is more prevalent in the story than like Vader was in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he is more. It is partially his story, and I could see where they're going by killing off Snoke and doing what they did because they're like, we want to tell a story that focuses around these characters, and we want these characters like Kylo Ren has a tie. Rey doesn't need to have a tie. She doesn't need to. She doesn't. Most people don't even like her character, so I don't even know why everyone.
That's
Like,
true.
honestly,
It's true.
honestly, she's either. Yeah, people are either
I liked her in
indifferent.
7.
People are either indifferent to her, or they don't like her.
I simply don't like her.
I liked her in 7.
You liked her in 7, but you're like, I'm indifferent to her in 8.
8 is...
You don't even talk about her at all in 8. You
And
talk
why
about all
is
the
that?
stuff you don't
She's
like.
Why is
not Rey anymore.
She is.
She doesn't have the same feelings.
It's the same
It is.
character.
It is
Oh,
exactly
there you go,
the same.
talking about feelings again. You know what? Fuck you and your feelings.
See, it's
as a fan, I own Star Wars.
and this is
That's what we're getting. That's exactly what we're getting.
That's what I'm trying to point out is everyone that is a fan has their own
Which is...
headcanon that they believe like this is how it should be. And when the movies don't do that, they feel like they've been cheated.
But it also, with that, instead, that means we shouldn't, Kathleen Kennedy shouldn't get fans to run the movies then.
This is also
Because the
this
fans
is
are
this is
streaming.
also
She wasn't. Have you ever heard of J.J. Abrams
No.
being a fan of Star Wars prior to
Hang on.
directing one?
Hang on,
Actually, yeah.
hang on.
Really?
That's the reason why he did Star Trek, is because it's the closest thing he thought it was the closest thing he would ever get to making a Star Wars film.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He even wrote them kind of like Star Wars, very...
Well, that would
He even
explain
put
why a lot of
he-
Star Wars or Star Trek fans don't like the Star Trek
He also
movies.
put an R2-D2 in the
Yeah,
first
I know.
one, yeah.
What were you going to
Sorry.
say, Dirk? I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
No, what were you going to say?
It's all right.
Dirk.
Go on. Keep going.
Dirk!
Keep going. You're doing fine. Go.
Dirk!
Go.
Fuck
Keep
you.
going.
Dirk!
Oh, stab him in the eye.
Are you going to say
More
what you were
viewers!
gonna say?
Dirk!
No.
No, I was doing, like, you said you were going to stab me
Oh,
in the
I
eye.
thought you were cheerleading me.
No, I was saying, you said stab me in the eye, and I was like, ooh, more viewers. Dirk! I was continuing that.
Stay tuned. Yeah. Yeah, give us
Will you
I don't know, what do we
will you
need?
tell
We
us
need
what the fuck you were gonna
another
say?
couple hundred followers on Facebook. That'd be great.
Well, yeah, that would be nice, but
Yeah. Yeah, share this shit, would you? Because
put it out there.
that's why we're here.
But regardless, tell us what you're
No,
doing.
it's no big deal.
Dirk!
Tell us
No.
what the fuck
No,
you're
it's too
doing.
late. Next time when I want to talk, you'll shut the fuck up.
Oh my goodness, you're so,
Or
They
not.
won't. They won't.
you're so stuck.
No, it's alright. Don't worry about it.
What?
No, it's done. It's past. Go for it. Keep going. It's alright.
Regardless, fans seem to be a little up in arms about this, or a lot up in arms about this, and it seems to be because they want what they want, and like I don't even think, you know, if you look at like all those fans that are donating to that petition, the 90 million that's pledged to rewrite episode 8 or whatever.
Which is ridiculous.
Are they actually
to be honest.
putting money in
They're-
it?
It's their
They got
pledge. They haven't.
$93 million.
They don't actually have the money because see, it's pledges.
Okay.
See, that's how they're able to get around it. Because like, if Disney shuts it down, then they don't actually have the money. So it's just whatever. But there's pledges for $90 million, and they even have a director, James Gunn, the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy, is the director that stated, "Well, if they actually do this, I would totally want to direct it."
I'd watch
I
it.
would okay with, yeah.
You said that about Ryan
I'd watch
Johnson. You said that about Ryan Johnson.
No, I didn't.
Well, you didn't.
I
But
didn't
he
know
did.
who the fuck he
Yeah,
was.
but the
The
thing
shoe
is
did
that James Gunn also has a lot of experience with...
I'd rather see Luc Besson do it.
Luc Besson would
Because
be
you
weird.
know...
I think that would be.
He made Valerian.
You know what? Everything else
And
is
Fifth Element.
everything else is fucked up. He can't make it worse.
To be fair,
He can make it...
George
Like
Lucas.
they-
George
we're
Lucas.
just looking at the directing, not the writing.
Okay.
or
To be
anything, just
fair-
the directing.
George Lucas stated that Star Wars is based off of Valerian. He took a lot of what was in Valerian, the concepts and everything like that, and put it into Star Wars. Luc Besson made The Fifth Element based off of Valerian. And then he got to direct the Valerian movie.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome. That is more Star Wars than Star Wars at this point.
Right now, yeah.
So I'm just saying, you get. I do. If we keep the fans away, the fanboys away from, and I mean that, you know what I mean. If we keep the fanboys away from directing the Star Wars films, it keeps their own mind out of it.
I would say that honestly, fans should not have a say in how Star Wars comes out, because honestly, everything that's come out prior to even 7, there's a 20-year difference between the Holy Trinity and the prequels.
Now,
no, it's 20.
Hang on, before you get into that,
started coming out in 90s.
Let me talk this time.
Okay.
Before you get into that,
Alright.
I gotta remember what I was gonna say.
Really?
Yeah, keep the fanboys out of it. Oh yeah. The directors who are directing this shit should have knowledge of Star Wars.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, is that...
Read a book, watch a movie.
Gareth Edwards? Gareth Edwards, director of Rogue One. He didn't... I don't believe he wrote Rogue One, but he directed it.
I don't think so.
And he's a huge Star Wars fan. But maybe that's the problem, is having the directing and writing at the same person.
No, because Episode 4 was fine, and Lucas wrote and directed that one.
He co-wrote. He wasn't the only writer.
Well, still. I'm sure he had a huge say in it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That was his movie.
But, again...
But also in Episode 5, he was a co-writer.
Writing and directing is not a problem. Writing and directing is
not a problem.
Well, it is.
Look at the prequels.
That was George Lucas writing.
That was also a long span between doing what was done right and getting older. With having kids and changing your own mental thing. Had he done it right in a row, it would have come out a hell of a lot differently.
So what you're saying is that it's his children's fault for the prequels?
No,
well, sure, if you need to blame somebody, sure, you could blame his kids. No, I blame him for...
George Lucas is responsible for a lot.
I'm just saying there was a lot of time in between, and the creative juices change over time. I've seen that in my own work. Creativity changes over time, and you see things that wouldn't have seemed entertaining previously seem entertaining now.
Yeah.
Because of whatever you're exposed to now. So you can't say you can't be a writer and a director. It's how you go about doing it.
I'm still of the opinion that writing and directing within a vacuum is not good, because it seems like George wrote the prequels in a vacuum.
Everybody was just, go ahead, whatever you do is...
go do whatever.
Which makes sense for The Phantom Menace, because, hey, you gave us 4, 5, and 6... Let's do 1, and then after 1, they should have realized, hey, George, I think you need some help here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do what you did with 5 and 6 and bring somebody else in.
But he had already written them, and he was the sole director on all of them, too.
Well, and
no, he had a co-director, I think, or something like that.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, yeah.
No, they don't see it.
No, I'm talking about them.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm off camera. Yeah, getting another beer. It's okay.
But there's a lot of factors in it. I mean, it's not just a matter of keeping the fans away, because I mean there are plenty of instances where I'm sure that certain writers have been fans of Star Wars and that's why they wanted to write a book, or a director was a fan.
Who's in charge of their social media presence?
I don't know, fucking clue.
Maybe that's something to do with it. Maybe you got some whiny little bitch in there, and I mean bitch loosely, I'm not assuming anyone's gender. But maybe there is some whiny little bitch in there that just gets all pissy and, well, here, you can have these, but you can't see these. That type of thing.
I don't know, man. There's too many cogs in the machine.
Do you think there's too many voices right now for Star Wars?
There may be. That is possible.
Maybe we just need like a set like 3 or 4 people instead of like a round table.
Say
like
20.
To be fair,
Bring in the BlueMilk podcast and
God, no.
one other person. That'd be great.
No.
The BlueMilk podcast and George Lucas.
A good movie.
To be honest, if you look at the time period between the original trilogy,
Yes.
and when the prequels came out, there were a lot of Star Wars novels, expanded universe books that were written during that time period.
Yeah.
That explained a lot of stuff, and pretty much as the phrasing says, expanded the universe.
Right.
And I'm sure some of them were fans, not all of them. I'm not going to assume that all of them were fans, but I'm sure some of them were fans, and they wrote really good books. I'm sure there's some books that were written that were not good on both sides, by fans and by non-fans. So
I'm sure there were a lot of non-fan books that were phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with that. But the thing is there's no way. There's too many cogs in the machine. Oh, and I was going with the whole fact that there was one person in charge of the Star Wars universe and the canon and how it unfolded during that time period.
Okay.
It was the keeper of the Holocron at Lucas Ranch.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Are you talking about like 80s and 90s and stuff? I don't know if they had Keeper of the Holocron then.
I think they did.
I thought it went all through George Lucas and
making me look shit
It
up.
might
He may have been the keeper.
Yeah,
he's effectively the keeper of the Holocron. But regardless, it all went through one person at one point or another.
Is this good? Like, yeah or no. They have that person at Lucasfilm now.
They still do?
But they don't have. He doesn't have like a creative thing. They just make sure that it's.
What you guys are missing
it's not
is all those people that were originally there have changed. They're not all the same people. So you have an entirely different mindset, an entirely different generation handling all this shit.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them could have been big fans.
Could have been, may not have been. We don't know. So if you're part of this new group of people and you'd like to contact us and set us straight, that'd be great. You can contact Jacob.
Oh, God.
You contact me.
You can talk to BJ.
Yeah.
Talk to BJ.
Yeah, talk to BJ.
Sure. I will listen to your grievances.
And all conversations will be recorded so we can use them and edit them appropriately.
I think my phone is up on the Facebook page, so yeah, they could probably...
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
BlueMilk Podcast. Just look us up there. The BlueMilk Podcast.
Message us.
Regardless, I think the problem is too many fans are getting in there, and it's too many voices saying how things should be done, and it's becoming less and less impartial. Like, it's becoming less and less balanced on like ideas to voices, and it's becoming more like, this is how everything should be done because it's Star Wars, and this is how everything should be done. Like, there's too much pushback. It seems like
I can see that.
There's not enough. It seems like there are more and more fans getting into the industry now of Star Wars, and they're not being balanced out by the people who are like, yeah, but this is what makes a movie good.
Yeah. They just want a creative Star Wars film. It doesn't matter if it's a good film. They just want Star Wars. Like, it's fan. Well, like, if you were given the opportunity to make a Star Wars movie, you would take it in a heartbeat. Yeah.
But the thing is you wouldn't be able to guarantee it'd be good. Like, you might like it.
I would love it.
Would anyone else?
I would be working on it for 10 years because I wanted to get it cracked. That's my problem.
I would be doing plenty of research beforehand to see what had been written, what falls into the timeline.
Well, how do you know they didn't
do a
do
movie
that?
based on that? I've never heard of Kylo before.
The thing is Disney decided to
Just saying.
skip ahead
I've
30
never
years.
heard of Kylo.
That was a Disney decision to skip ahead 30 years and to
Exactly.
advance.
It was a Disney decision.
Yeah. But we can't say
If Disney makes the movies,
it could have been a good idea if they had gone about it differently. Like if they'd made
it would have been
an
a great
episode
idea.
7, if it was
It would have been a great idea had no other books been written about the time after.
But the thing is, what if a really good movie had been made? You wouldn't be saying that. You'd be like, okay, well, that's what I'm familiar with. But that was still a good movie.
Oh, I still think it's a good movie.
Well, you don't think that?
I think episode 8 was all right.
Okay.
Solo was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great movie. Episode 8 was not a great movie. Episode 7, I liked. I really did like it.
Okay.
But that's not what episode 7 should have been.
Fair enough.
So I
according
hope
to
you understand my perspective on things. I enjoyed the movie. The movie itself was good. It just didn't follow what it should have.
Which is essentially the legacy canon that Disney had decided to
With the Thrawn
disregard.
trilogy, then you had Vector Prime, and you had the Yusong Vong, and
Oh,
then
the
you had
X-Wing.
the X-Wing series, and then you had the Jedi's
I wasn't getting that far
fun
into
stuff.
But the thing is
I'm
they
just
could have still
focused
skipped
on-
30 years.
If they went to
They
30
could
years,
have.
The Throne trilogy could still exist because that took place
You
immediately
never
after-
know it can't because you never hear about Han and Leia's kids. Or Leia's kids.
Jason and Jaina.
Yeah, but we know that Kylo probably wasn't born by that point. Because it literally takes... The original Thrawn trilogy takes place... In what time... how soon after 6?
Do you
6
understand
years?
what I'm saying?
We don't hear about their kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying that their kids hadn't been born yet.
30 years? Yes.
No.
Their kids had been born 6 years after Return of the Jedi. Yes, they had.
How old is Kylo?
Maybe.
He's in his 20s.
God, now I gotta look that up.
I know that.
So he was born... He wasn't born immediately after Episode 6.
No.
But the Thrawn trilogy takes place immediately after 6.
5 years after.
5 years after 6?
Yes.
So
It is 5 years after from book 1.
So you are absolutely certain that Kylo Ren would have been born at that point?
5 years after?
Yeah.
No. Dude. Han and Leia had 2 kids. Leia had twins.
Did they actually talk about the twins?
Yes.
Oh, in the Thrawn?
She was
Yeah.
pregnant in the second book.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah. With the...
So 7 is good, but it's not right.
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that's where I'm going with
Yeah,
it. That's
because
my perspective.
7 and 8 shouldn't exist because that's where...
The Yusum Vong.
No, that's where Luke goes on his adventure to figure out why Jason went to the dark
Well, again,
side.
that's the point. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Wait, so it's after the Vong?
Yeah, the Vong is
The
between...
Yushan Vong,
is right out... I think it's like 10 years after...
it starts... Shit, now I don't have the right dates. But
I
it
don't
starts...
know.
Luke is still alive when the Yushan Vong do
Oh, yeah.
their thing. And
Yeah.
then it's, according to Legacy, I guess it is, it's Luke's grandson, or no,
Jade.
Luke's son, that starts with the Yuzhan Vong rehabilitation of all the planets that they destroyed. So it's sometime
Yeah, but he's
in
still
that
alive.
period. Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the Yuzhan Vong do their thing? Yes.
Well, even when the son is doing his thing,
Yeah.
he's still alive.
Because...
Supposedly.
Yes.
According to the Legacy shit.
Yeah.
Not according to...
And then
Well,
him
that-
and...
I'm just, seeing how, the timelines would fit,
Ben-
30 years after Episode 6. What
Yeah.
happens in Legacy?
It would-
Well, Luke
yeah.
and Ben Skywalker, they go on their universal or their galactic, adventure to figure out why Jason went
Road trip? Space trip?
Yeah, went to the dark side. and Everything because Jason goes to the dark side after he leaves Song Long because he gets tortured, and then Jason kills his brother, and then Jaina kills him.
Yeah.
And then Luke is blamed for Jason going to the dark side, which is why he gets ostracized.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. From Coruscant and the Jedi Order.
Oh my god, and it was the right word!
Yeah, I know. And so he goes, figures out, what What happened? What happened?
Anyway, we're getting a little
Yeah, we went.
outside of.
We're going way over time.
Yeah,
We could probably cut the Will's part out. Come on.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Take us out.
But anyway, what we've clearly talked about today is a very
Passionate.
very sensitive topic to a lot of people.
That's what we do.
Please feel free to leave comments with your opinions and how things should have been or whatnot.
Preferably a passionate comment.
Very passionate comment about how things should have been or
Write a
whatever.
fanfic. Write a passionate fanfic.
Not in the comments.
In the comments.
No,
In the
not
comments.
comments.
Regardless, but yes, please like, follow, share on Facebook. Like,
Thumbs down this video.
Yep.
yeah, hashtag thumbs down.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Hit the little bell so that you get notifications when we put out new content.
But what?
Because we are indeed putting out new content that involves
Stuff.
Random shit.
Yeah?
Well, it's
Random
all
shit.
Star Wars related, but
Oh.
it's definitely random.
Random Star Wars shit. Also known as
News, education, commercials.
Look at me like that.
We put all that out on Facebook, so be sure to absolutely follow us and get notifications on Facebook
Yep.
for those.
Get your friends to follow us.
Yeah,
Get your enemies to follow us. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll turn them.
yeah,
They'll still be your enemies, but they'll turn to us.
they'll like us.
Yeah. And
guarantee it.
what is it? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, yeah, we're all friends in this.
Yeah, yeah, we
Wasn't
are.
that smooth?
Totes.
My goats.
But regardless, I hope you guys have a good day.
Come to the dark side.